Yesterday on this program, we spoke with lawyer, social critic, and human rights activist Dele Farotimi, and he spent some time dissecting the new Lagos State anti-corruption law, which was recently signed by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. According to him, the Lagos State government was perfectly on the side of the law in taking the option of establishing an anti-corruption agency. He, however, questioned the motive and timing of the action. Lagos State has expressed an interest in responding to some of the points raised, and joining us now to do so is Gbenga Omotosho, Lagos State Commissioner for Information and Strategy. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Bengus, good morning.
I greet you, Robert.
How are you? Okay, very quickly, yesterday we had Dele Farotimi here who said he's in disguise. And it was very forthright in saying that yes, whereas the Lagos State government under the law can come up with its own public complaints and anti-corruption law, but that the motive behind that law is suspicious. And it was very clear in his submission. He saw this as an attempt to protect Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and some other officials of the state who have been fingered by the federal authorities. Can you enlighten us or respond to that point about this, what looks like this opaque, dubious, mischievous motive behind the law?
Well, thank you so much. First, I would like to thank him for conceding to the fact that the House of Assembly has the right to make such a law. It's very commendable. But let me tell you that the idea that the law is to protect either Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu or anybody is highly speculative. It's in the conjectural imagination of anybody who is thinking so. It is presumptuous. It is out of place for anybody to think like that a law will be made because of a section of the society or because of some personalities. That is not the aim of the law. Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, the governor, says so. When he signed the law, it's very clear that it's for accountability. This is what they promised the electorate when he was being voted for. This is what he promised when he came into office, to say that there will be accountability, people will not misappropriate state funds and get away with it. And why is it that people are talking about some personalities, about when you talk about corruption and all that? It's not a law that the same at, they are not even talking about contractors who may go away with the state's money without doing any job. So there are so many people who are supposed to be reigning through this law, not just some people. So it's highly speculative, and I think it's something that we should not even consider at all.
Speculative as it is at this point, you do, I imagine, concede there's a huge trust deficit when it comes to the government. Do you care to address that?
Well, there may be a huge deficit when it comes to government or governance, but I'm telling you, the administration of Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu has shown Lagosians that it is trustworthy. It has shown Lagosians that it is sincere, and that in whatever it does, it means well, especially about this law. And it took so long, so many nights of not sleeping, so many people sweating, and before this kind of law can come up. And I tell you, the kind of reviews that we are getting, it shows that more states may come up with this kind of law. People should even look at it as the kind of thing that we are saying about true federalism. I mean, the decentralization of power that we are talking about, that if we can do this, it's going to help us in Nigeria. I mean, people should look at all of that and not that the law was made to protect some people. So in this situation, I do not think that there is any trust deficit that we are talking about, because the Lagosians, they trust Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Whatever he says he wants to do, he has been doing.
I mean, you said Lagosians trust Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Have you taken an opinion poll on that? That's one. But in alluding to what you're saying, in fact, Oyo State have put up a law like that, and it's on ground in Oyo State. But the words he said yesterday, I'm talking about the guest we had, Dele Farotimi, he talked about these people being an hegemony. And these are the people that make those laws to be able to favor them. I mean, they use it either ways. That was his clear explanation. And alluding to what Tundu said, that brings up the case of the trust deficit in there, that these people are hegemonies, like he said. So they're not just characters, but they are the main character of the moment. And also the other one you said that, because that's a very, very big statement you made, that Lagosians trust, the incumbent governor. Is there an opinion poll to back that up for the sake of facts?
Of course. What you people say on television, people comment on what you say. What the government is doing, we conduct research into everything that we do, and we get the feedback that makes us to feel that various sections of the society, that they trust Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu to deliver on whatever he promises, and he has been doing that. So the question to consider, as I said, is that the House of Assembly, does it have the power to do this? Is it intra-vires? Yes, if it has the power to do it, then why must we now become to be speculative about why the law is being made, why it is not being made, and all of that? Why don't we allow the system to just work and see whether indeed the law is to protect anybody?
Well, Gbengus, one question we asked Dele yesterday is about whether the law will have a retroactive effect. Although any ordinary student of law will know that it's a tried principle in law that no law can have a retroactive effect. And that goes to the point Dele Farotimi was making yesterday about motive. What exactly is the motive? You have not defined it properly, because this is a law that has been on the table since 2020. And now, in April 2021, the governor has signed it. Now, do we face the possibility of a conflict between Lagos State and the federal government with regard to the application of this law, creating a situation where the matter could go all the way to the Supreme Court in terms of jurisdiction in specific cases?
I do not see any conflicts of this law without the federal government. The law and the commission that is setting up is to complement what the federal government is doing. And if there is anybody that feels that there is any conflict and the person goes to court, it is also in the interest of jurisprudence. It's going to advance our knowledge of law. Because the House of Assembly has the power to make the law, and they have made the law. And like you have said, it's been on the table since 2020. That means that a lot of sweating, a lot of working, a lot of exertion went into it. So it's not just a law that somebody just woke up one day and put together and then it was signed. A lot of intellectual exertion went into it. A lot of sleepless nights, and it's a law that has been applauded by legal giants. And so many lawyers have spoken with me to say that this is the way to go. We have gotten commendation. The Attorney General has received a commendation from so many of his colleagues. And from the way it's going, the reviews we are getting, I know that some states would like to follow suit very soon.
Well, we're going to take a short break soon, but I think I have time to ask my question. Section 13, I don't have time to ask my question. Okay, sorry, sir. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back for more. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Still with us is Gbenga Omotosho, Lagos State Commissioner for Information and Strategy. Mr. Omotosho, I'm actually so glad you're here, because the point that I raised yesterday was that the Lagos State Law, Section 13, actually does not offend or violate the Constitution, Sections 128 and 129. However, Sections 81 and 121, subsection 3, are the cause of a lot of contention with the Drusen strike that is lingering since April 6th. There was a report that the Lagos State branch was considering a partial suspension of the strike. Can you confirm what's happening with that? What's the current status? And does that suggest that there have been negotiations that seem to be quite successful with the Lagos State branch of Drusen? Well,
I think the strike, as you must have heard, Lagos State judiciary workers joined because they felt they had to sympathize with their colleagues in other places, not because Lagos State government has not done what it's supposed to do for the judiciary. In fact, we have overcomplied, and they said so too. We had a meeting with them, and they agreed, and in fact apologized for what happened, and said they were going to call off the strike, but that they wouldn't be able to call it off without talking to their headquarters in Abuja, and they went to Abuja to make a case that, well, we have sympathized with the national body enough, and now we think we should go back to work. And I feel that arrangements are being made now to reopen the court so that we can continue to have the courts running.
All right, so while you were speaking, and you said, oh, people are just being sensational, I don't know why they're saying that, you said something that struck me. You said people are not even concerned about, the contractors that have taken away the Lagos State money, by not completing contracts and the likes. With what you have in place and with this law, are there some contractors we need to know about that have not been brought into public glare that might have taken away Lagos State money and that nothing has been done as regards them? I mean, are there some? You might just give us some hints. And how many have been, prosecuted for taking away the state money at any point in time in various projects, issued out by the state to these contractors? Has there been a probe of most projects in Lagos State?
I'm just saying that to explain to you that that law is needed now. That is, when we talk about the anti-corruption battle, people usually think about politicians. They usually think about government officials. They usually think about public officials. There are other people. And then I said, people like maybe a contractor who's got a job and then refused to do the job. I mean, they will be subjected to this law. So I'm not saying specifically that there are some people who may have done that. What I have said is that the law is all-encompassing in fighting corruption. And that what I said is what we should realize that, take for example, the police have the traffic unit that is very vibrant, that is all over Nigeria. And if you surrender traffic control and all that to the police in Lagos, you will be fighting chaos. It will be chaotic. And that is why we have LASMA. So because the federal government has CFCC and ICPC, does it mean that no state can again raise a body to fight corruption? No. So that is all I am saying. And all I am saying is that it doesn't mean that when we talk about fighting corruption, we are talking about government officials alone. No. Anybody who is seen to have misappropriated money, it says, can be fought by through the law that we are talking about.
So I just want to confirm. So there have been no case of corruption against any contractor. All the monies appropriated for contracts have been used judicially in Lagos State and were used optimally. Is that what you're saying?
Based on my knowledge, no case like that, and that is why we have this kind of law that should come up, because it's a promise that the governor made that it will be accountable and that it will be transparent, it will be sincere in spending the state's funds. And so if we find anything like that, the law is there for us now to be able to fight it. But so far, we haven't seen anything like that.
Well, Honorable Commissioner, I have a question for you from one of our viewers. He says, Dr. Abati, you should ask Gbenga why they haven't been publishing their accounts and procurement policies. Kano State was the first to have a state anti-graft agency, and they used that to deal with the challenge they had with the former emir, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi. Kano first, Oyo second, and now Lagos. And then it goes on, he says, there should be transparency first. Lagos State government is the only legal entity that can sue and can be sued because they don't publish their records of transactions. Can you respond to that? That's from a viewer. Although I was going to ask you a question about the notoriety of VIOs, all these transportation officials in Lagos. But maybe you should respond to this concern about that from that viewer.
The transparency he's talking about is clear in Lagos. There is no time Lagos issues a contract that people don't see it, that people are bidding for it. And in talking about Lagos State accounts, if you, and our budget, if you go on our website, you'll be able to see all of these things. people bid for contracts and they see what is going on. There is nothing that is not transparent about it. We are the only state that talks about how we have been spending money, how we have been making money. Everybody knows. Anybody on the street can tell you how much Lagos State is making. Everybody on the street can tell you that he or she has seen what Lagos State has published about his account. We have everything on our website because we have a Ministry of Finance that knows what it's doing. And all of the questions that people are raising, anytime we go to take a bond, for example, we make it open. Everybody sees it, and we will say what we are going to do with the money. Even when we pay the money back, we get there. So for people to be talking about not being transparent, I do not think they are being sincere. They are, they have a right to their opinion, but that is not the situation. Lagos State government under Mr. Bayede Sanwo-Olu has been transparent. And should anybody need to know anything, there are websites that you can go to. And if you are not satisfied, the officers are there for you to be able to ask questions. There is nobody that has raised any question that Lagos State government officials have not been able to answer. In any case, that is why you have the House of Assembly. I went to the House of Assembly on Tuesday to talk about how my ministry has been doing about funding. So there are, rights and privileges, and at the same time, there are checks and balances.
Well, okay, quickly, the issue about this, your notorious vehicle inspection officers. There have been complaints about them, particularly with regard to transparency and the rules that they follow.
Well, the vehicle inspection officers, they are, in my own view, doing a very difficult job, because an average Lagos driver, he doesn't care about what he says and what he does on the road. And most of them, they put their vehicles on the road without having the right papers or even fixing the vehicles. That is part of the traffic problems that we have in Lagos. But then, what we have done now is to resolve the problem through technology. Recently, the governor, Mr. Bayede Sanwo-Olu, showed us how to use body cameras that the government has ordered for our law enforcement agents. So any VIO that misbehaves any moment from now, when they are giving the body cameras, it will be exposed. So I think it's something that people should just take it easy. It's a problem that technology has been able to resolve, and it's going to be resolved very soon. Because all of our agents who are enforcing the law in every way, they will have body cameras that will see who goes wrong and who has done anything wrong, and then we can also we can punish them when the camera shows that they have done something that they are not supposed to do.
Right. The NURTW, I beg your pardon, and Okada riders clash yesterday, which resulted in the loss of one life, is most unfortunate. I'd like your insights on that situation and how to prevent such a thing from happening. It's bad enough in and of itself, but the ethnic coloration that it took on is particularly disturbing in the context of today's Nigeria, with the kind of tension that we're facing as a country.
First, I would like to appeal to Lagosians to forget about the ethnic coloration that has been brought into that crisis. It has no ethnic coloration at all, and no ethnic coloration should be brought into it. Lagosians are Lagosians. We are all one. Well, the clash between Okada riders, as they are called, and NURTW people is something that is not new, but we have been able to resolve it for a long time. That kind of thing did not happen. That of yesterday is not, I would say, not the norm. It's something that is just abnormal that happened. And the governor called the commissioner of police to move in there quickly and resolve the matter. He also called asked the commissioner for home affairs to go and ensure that this kind of thing never happens again. So what happened yesterday in Lagos, sorry for the loss of life. I sympathize with the family of the person who died. It's not something that is normal with us. It's abnormal, and we are not going to allow it to happen again. The governor said it clear and pointedly to the commissioner of police that it must never happen again, and that all those people who are responsible for it must be brought before the law. They will be prosecuted. Okay,
but you said that, but there's another twist to that story. What a lot of people are claiming is that NURTW gets away with whatever they do in Lagos because they have access or closeness to any government, incumbent government in Lagos. I said that's why they can harass, Okada riders and collect more money for them. And I'd like to ask, where does that money even go to? All of the wages and charges the NURTW members collect everywhere on the road in Lagos? Because that's another complaint, that they're fleecing people off in a state that's got a government.
Well, it's not just all about NURTW. Anybody who causes trouble in Lagos will face the law. And the problem with us is that so long as you bring people before the law who don't have big names in court, then you will be seen not to have done the right thing. You will be seen not to have taken the people who are causing trouble in. But I tell you, so many people have been taken in every day because they cause trouble one way or the other. Whether they are NURTW people, whether they are any organization at all. So many people who have been suspected to have belong to courts, they've been taken to court and they are facing the law as I speak with you. And even the one that happened yesterday, so many people have been arrested and they will face the law. But the question is, people need to understand that it's not only when you take big people who have names to court that will be seen to have been doing something. So many people who have been misbehaving have been taken off our streets and taken in by the security agencies. But there is no way anybody can come onto television and begin to announce the names of people that people don't even know. We see them on television, we see them in newspapers every time. And as for the money that you are saying NURTW is collecting, NURTW is a union like any other union. If it says, and its members agree, that it should be collecting some amount of money, oh well, it has the right to collect its money and spend it the way it wants. All it has to do is that anything that is against the law, it must not do it. And if it has any part of the money that is collecting that he has to register as an association, he has to pay, members have to pay for their vehicle papers and all of that, so be it. But it's not as if we will go into any organization and ask the organization how you spending your money.
Well, Gbenga Omotosho, Honorable Commissioner of Information and Strategy, Lagos State, would like to thank you very much for joining us. So, this suit you are wearing, you and I, we had a discussion around it. You told me it was Fumi that bought it for you from the US. Okay, I hope we won't have a situation with it where I will come to your house and grab it and take it.
Don't worry, Ruben, I get you a better one.
Anyway, thank you very much indeed, for your insights and for the various clarifications you've been able to offer. Thank you.